So I created a $100 million brand, not by working harder than anyone else, because let's face it, everyone's working hard these days. I did it by understanding this one concept what I'm going to teach you guys, and that is the concept of parallel universes. The concept states that if you desire something, that means that version of yourself already exists in a parallel universe. And what you have to do, like I did, was connect by energy, vibration, and frequency to that desired reality that already exists to bring it into your current reality. That's the game you're playing. And I think most people today, are chasing a version of themselves that already exists and don't even know it. So I'm going to show you guys how to go from the old you to the new you by understanding these principles. So first of all, let me try and visualize it for you. Let's say you have two roads, right? And these roads will represent universes. Let's call this, and this is the universe 181. Then another one. Universe. (281). Now this is good. This is bad. Now, one mistake that I made throughout my journey in my life was trying to predict how everything was going to happen. And I learned the hard way that I let the universe play out the way it was going to play out. Because the moment my life didn't go according to plan, I'd start operating from a lower frequency. Why? Because I, myself, in my mind, thought that if it wasn't going based on the plan that I created, then it wasn't going to happen. And this is what happens to a lot of people. So for example, you might be on universe 181. You're on the path. And then what happens? Something happens, right? Whether maybe you lose some money, you have a bad day at work, meta ads shit the bed, or whatever it might be. Then what happens? A negative emotionally charged thoughts happen. These are like detours. And this is why it took me so long to get to $100 million. Because every time something didn't go according to plan, I'd enter negative thoughts, negative emotions, which sent me on a detour towards another universe, the one that I didn't want to go, the other parallel version of me that didn't have what I wanted. And this is what I have to get you guys to realize is that based on how you think, how you feel, you dictate which universe you're operating in, which universe you are connecting with. Think of it like frequencies, like in terms of a radio antenna. If you have, let's say for example, on this universe 181, this is a $100 million mat. And this one is $20 million mat. You have to operate at the level of a $100 million mat to continue to live in that state, because that frequency is matched with your desired reality. And anytime you opt out by negative emotionally charged thoughts, then you take detours to other realities. And this is where people go wrong. They don't understand that it's literally a pattern that happens. Your personal reality will change once your personality changes, because you have to consistently change the way you think, the way you feel, and what you believe to be true. That has to be in alignment with the parallel universe that you want to connect to. And the way you do that is through a couple of ways, right? So based on which road you are on depends on your emotional state, your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs, your perceptions. I think I'm missing a couple, but it doesn't really matter. So when you're thinking about those two roads again, let's say 20 mil. How would $100 million Matt act from an emotional perspective when something went wrong? If I had $100 million in the bank, would I care if I lost 20, 30 grand in a day? Even 100 grand a day? Probably not. What would my thoughts be like? What kind of decisions will I be making about my life? What would I be buying? What would I not be buying? And one thing that I learned from my mentor recently, Nero, shout out to Nero, was that I used to rush everything. And the fact of rushing everything, I disconnected from the path and made a detour. Because in fact, if I was living as a $100 million Matt, I wouldn't be rushing anything because I'd be at my desired reality. I'd be living in that parallel universe. But because I was rushing everything, it was just a subconscious sign that I was disconnected from the path I wanted to go. And it pulled me on a detour back again to whatever, 20, $50 million I was at. So that's why the actions are important. Beliefs, what I believe to be true based on if I'm worth 100 or $20 million. What is my perceptions? How do I perceive things in life? All these things come into play. Now, what I also used to do as I was like at a lower stage of consciousness and I was learning these concepts was that I used to make big decisions in light of my desired reality. For example, when I lost, 2 times in my life, I lost a lot of money. Once when I lost $5 million overnight when I was 25 years old, I went out the next week or so and bought my first supercar because I didn't want to allow myself to go into scarcity mindset. I wanted to keep acting from a place of self-belief and conviction. And the way I do that, I thought that, the mind can be convinced, but the heart needs to be won. And through that action, that big leap of faith, I would operate from that desired reality, that frequency, that is on track of that different parallel universe. And the same thing happened 3 years ago when I lost about $2 million with a company called Football Supplements. I went out and bought a Lambo. The same thing. So when you take all these things into combination and think of it through the lens of your desired reality, how do you show up every single day? What is your frequency like? And I promise you now, if you start thinking, feeling, acting, believing, perceiving reality through the lens of your $100 million self or $10 million self or $1 million self, then reality will start to bend for you. So I hope that's clear. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. Very simple concept, parallel universes changed my life. Hopefully it'll change yours, and I'll see you guys next week.